The reason why I decided to give an Enlightenment intensive was because of a realization that I had when I was working with people for many years, working in therapeutic situations, growth situations, courses, and one-on-one. And I noticed that some people made good progress, some people made fair progress, but there was a certain category of people that no matter what you did, it didn't make any progress. Do the same technique on them, and they wouldn't get anywhere. They would even answer all the questions, comply to all the instructions, go through all the process, and even then, at the end, they'd say, well, I feel the same. I'm not getting anywhere. And I was baffled by this for a long time. And I had this realization. Now I see why they weren't making any progress. Even though it looked like they were doing the technique, they were responding to the questions, they were following the instructions, they weren't. It's not that answers weren't given. Answers were given. And compliances were taken out, were complied with. But in fact, it was not the individual that did it. It was a personality. So if a personality does a technique and not the actual individuals whose personality that is, then they don't make any progress. That is to say, they didn't know who or what they were. They weren't living from themselves. They were living from a personality. So when it came to a therapeutic situation, it wasn't them who did it. And so therefore, at the end of it, there was no change. Yes, the personality could change a little bit, but as far as they are concerned, they didn't get anywhere. They didn't make any progress. So I thought, what can be done about this? I would even ask them, did you do that? What did you do to do that? Was it you that made that answer? And they said, well yes, yes. Well, what did you do to do it? Well, I don't know. I don't know. And they didn't know who or what they were. They may have had an intellectual idea. If you asked them, who are you? They say, well, I'm Harry James. I'm Tommy Dorsey. They were that name. They were the personality. They were the beingness. But they were conscious of that. But that wasn't them. It was just a personality, a name, a beingness, and not the actual individual. The truth is that there is an actual individual, regardless of name or personality. But they have no sense or experience of that. So, I thought, well, something should be done about this. What can we do? And I kind of kicked around the ideas for 2 or 3 months. And then one day I was laying down, looking out a window at some pine trees. And just ruminating about what could be done. And then I kind of went blank, and then suddenly it occurred to me. Yes, It could be just like or similar to a Japanese Zen sesshin, in which people intensely work on who are they, but instead of working alone, it would be in the context of a dyad. Now, dyads can be used for many things, for improving relationships, for intellectual reflection, for the discharging of emotional or mental or physical charge. And I thought maybe it could be used also for this deep contemplative process that must be gone through in order to experience what one is sufficiently so that one can not only benefit from therapeutic processes because it is that individual who is doing them, but they can also benefit from living life. So it's them that's doing the living. Instead of going through all the processes of living, and at the end of that time say, I didn't get anything out of life. Because it wasn't them that was doing the living. It was all empty and hollow for them. So what can be done? So this whole concept of how the dyad would fit together into a sesshin, or an intense period of time, and work on the question, who am I? So I told some people about it, and they gathered together on the 2nd of July, 1968, 25 years ago this year. And there, I think, were 24 people. And in the middle of the second day, somebody came in and said, well, I know who I am. And they told me, and there was no argument about it. In fact, this person had known all right along who they were. So I had to really shuffle fast. Here we are halfway, a day and a half has gone by. And what are we going to do? I mean, she knows who she is. What do I do? Send her home? So I asked a few questions. I said, well, tell me about yourself then. And she did a little bit. And I thought, she knows who she is, but she doesn't know what she is. So I said, well, now this is what you're to work on. You're going to work on, tell me what you are. And that's how that happened. And she said, oh yes, and went right back in and started working very diligently on it, as if I had had all these things worked out. Well, I didn't, but it worked very well. Not only she, but others not only directly experienced who they were, but what they were, to a deeper and deeper degree, or a de-identification from things that they thought they were and found out they weren't. Each time that they did that, their power of participation in life, and in the intensive, and in any therapeutic program, is enhanced